Happy holidays. I am the Militant Negro and this is my YouTube network. Welcome. Glad you could stop by and give me a few minutes of your time. I'm somewhat dismayed at this point about all these trials that involve police officers who have taken the lives of unarmed people of color. We've got two mistrials in the works. Ray Tenzing's trial was a mistrial. And in case you have forgotten, that's the Caucasian cop who executed Samuel Dubois at a traffic stop. Then we have the case of Michael Slager, another Caucasian law enforcement officer, who executed ex-Navy veteran Walter Scott at a traffic stop. Actually, Mr. Scott got out of his car at the traffic stop and was fleeing on foot away from Michael Slager. I've said this before and I'm going to say it again so I can be very clear. Walter Scott was running away from Michael Slager when Michael Slager tased him, and that didn't seem to stop Mr. Scott or satisfy Officer Slager enough. He drew his service weapon, fired 8 times, 5 of those shots hitting Mr. Scott in the back, killing him. Mr. Dubois, Samuel Dubois, was in his car when Ray Tenzing decided that he was going to pull his service weapon and shoot Mr. Dubois in the head. Then later used the excuse that Mr. Dubois was trying to pull away with Mr. Tenzing's arm in the car. Now, why Officer Tenzing had his arm inside of Samuel Dubois' vehicle at just a routine traffic stop but not having a front license plate, I have no clue why that transpired the way it did. But it did. We have 2 African American Negro black men dead. In my mindset, they were executed. These 2 Negro men, unarmed, I can't stress that enough, unarmed, no weapons, in them, on them, around them, executed by 2 Caucasian law enforcement officers who were charged and taken to trial only to have mistrials. Now, Mr. Tenzing, I believe in the next few days or weeks, is going to be in the process of having his case retried. And Scarlett, I believe her name is Scarlett Wilson, I could be wrong about that. She's the prosecutor in the Michael Slager case. She says she's going to retry him as well. But what's so disconcerting and troubling to me is that both of these cases, clear-cut cases, okay, there's not a whole lot of wiggle room here for supposition and guesswork. Both of these unarmed Negro men were executed by law enforcement officers, and the coroners and the cell phone video and all the testimony and all the evidence point to murder, executions, unlawful use of force, if there ever was such a thing, applies to these 2 cases. Yet and still, we had mistrials. I just don't understand how you could have a mistrial when there is a preponderance of evidence that points to both of these law enforcement officers being guilty as motherfucking sin. How does that work? Exactly. Why even have a trial? Why go through all the expense and time and effort of having a trial when you're not going to even instruct the jury in the proper way? You leave all these backdoor loopholes open for a jury to have a mistrial or an acquittal because you don't instruct them properly and you don't even charge the perpetrators with the proper crime. You undercharge or overcharge, seeking for a mistrial or a not guilty verdict. This whole legal system, this whole justice system is a farce. It's set up from the very beginning to not work in favor of victims and victims' families. Now, you have a Caucasian teenager who's driving drunk, who kills 4 pedestrians with his car, and he gets off with probation claiming affluenza affected him all his life. You have Dylan Roof, who walks into a church during Bible study and executes 9 people, and he gets taken alive, not even a scratch on him, stops by Burger King for lunch on the way to being booked, and he's now on trial and has decided he's going to defend himself. He placed a not guilty verdict when he was at his acquittal or arraignment, whatever you want to call it. Arraignment is what it was. He was arraigned and he pleaded not guilty. But there is an FBI video of him saying he did this. He confessed to killing these 9 people, premeditated no less. Yet still he got to plead not guilty. There are some things about the justice system in America that does not make sense. If you confess on video that you did a murder, committed that crime, how can you be allowed to plead not guilty on your arraignment before a judge? You've already admitted guilt. You've confessed. Why is there even a plea arraignment trial? Why do you even have an opportunity to plead? When you tell the cops on video, I did it. The man was seen leaving the church in body armor with weapons after slaughtering those 9 people. So how does he plead not guilty after confessing? Again, this entire justice system is a joke. I don't understand it. I don't see how somebody can do something and just get away with it after saying they did it. Cell phone video of Michael Slager executing Walter Scott. Body cam, dash cam video of Ray Tennessee putting a bullet in the head of Samuel Dubois at a traffic stop. What would be the outcome if we didn't have cell phone video or body cam video or dash cam video? What if there was no physical visual evidence that these law enforcement officers all across America are doing these crimes against citizens, unarmed citizens? What would the outcome be then? I'll tell you what the outcome would be. It'd be the same outcome as we have now. Hung juries, acquittals, not guilty verdicts. Why even bother with trial? Why don't we just allow people to go back to the Wild Wild West days and have gunfights in the street where justice can be extradited right away? Immediate justice. 2 people draw it out on each other. Last man standing is not guilty and the winner. We'd be better off doing that. This justice system does not work, and it's not broken, people. It was created to work exactly like it's working. Can't fix it because it ain't broke. I am so glad I moved out of the United Slave States of America. I don't know what to do. So happy to not live there anymore, not have to be concerned with this bullshit garbage. My brothers and sisters of color, be safe. Stay well. Watch yourselves. Protect yourselves. Your lives are in danger. You're being hunted in America. We are at war. Now I'm going to stop. I'm out of here.
Talking about the ghetto. Funky, funky ghetto. Trying to survive. Trying to stay alive.